What we've seen in the past 2 or 3 years is something that's called a paradigm shift here in Denmark, which is essentially to try and encourage Syrians to return to Damascus region specifically. And we've seen a number of very high profile cases involving young women who are studying nursing or teaching and have nonetheless had their residence permits revoked by the Danish authorities. So that's the backstory to this, as you say, this inclusion in the government agreement. And here it would seem to me that the government, the new government recently formed here in Denmark, is essentially trying to carve out some exceptions to this paradigm shift of temporary protection. So saying, if you are a Syrian refugee who is studying a course that's relevant to the Danish economy, that fills a gap in the Danish society, then you will be able to retain your residence permit. But I wouldn't see it as a shift entirely back to giving full protection and rights and integration to Syrian refugees. What we can say from the government agreement is that the new government will hold fast with the paradigm shift. There will be continually a focus on temporary protection and return for refugees, but with some exceptions built in. So if you're a refugee in Denmark and can show that you're contributing to the economy and filling gaps that are needed in the Danish economy, then your chances of staying are greater now than they were before this new government was formed.
It's part of a long policy that the Social Democratic Party has had, and it hasn't happened. There is no agreement with Rwanda or any other country to externalize refugee protection. In this new paper, it's still stated as part of the government's policy, but I think you can read it and saying that Denmark is not going to do it on its own. It wants to try to do it together with other EU countries. And we know the other EU countries cannot do this because it's contrary to EU law. The only reason why Denmark has had a push to go this way is because Denmark has a reservation on this part of EU law. But I think maybe it has just been very clear to the government that this is not going to take place in reality. It's too complicated if you actually want to abide by international law, which I'm very glad that the Danish government keeps on insisting that they do want to abide by international law.